Alright guys, so recently I've been getting a lot of tips, or a lot of people have been asking me, Carson, I'm having trouble with the unit circle. Now, wait, alright, anyways, people have been having trouble with the unit circle, and if you don't know, I feel like I'm pretty proficient with math, and especially within my functions analytical geometry class. I think I'm on top currently, and people are saying, Carson, I'm having a lot of trouble with the unit circle. Now, I have a little tiny trick for the most part, or I guess it's a trick. It's just what I use to find values of the unit circle as fast as possible. So the way I do it is this. So I memorized basically the first quadrant. Now there's three lines, as we all know. So this is pi over 2. This is 0. This is pi over 6. This is pi over 4. And this is pi over 3. Alright? Now, everybody knows that the x value is equal to cosine, and the y value is equal to sine. So within these lines, there are going to be x and y values. So for example, the pi over 3, off the top of my head, I know for a fact is 1/2 root 3 over 3. How do I know this? Oh, that's kind of gross. Wait, no, root 3 over 2. Oh, that's gross. Let's rewrite that. Root 3 over 2. And everyone knows that pi over 4 is root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, and then so on and so forth. Now, if I clear this, if I could figure out how to clear this, how do you equals clear? Whatever. Let's just make a new layer. All right, whatever. Brushes B. Okay. Now I know these values off the top of my head because I think about it like this. So cosine, as I said before, is equal to the x value, and sine is equal to the y value. Now, if you think about it this way, any of the pi over 3's, think about how far the x goes. Now there's three possible options that the cosine can be. It can be 1/2, root 2 over 2, or root 3 over 2. Okay? Now out of these three options, which one is the smallest? That's right, 1/2. So this pi over 3, the x value goes the least amount of distance. Okay? Pi over 4, if I make another one, is there a shortcut for this? Okay, control N. Alright. Pi over 4 is the middle distance, which would be out of these three, which I'm going to write in ascending order, is the middle one. So pi over 4 is always going to be the middle one. And the last one, any of the pi over 6's, is going to be the largest one. Because in x value terms, you go the longest amount of distance. So the cosine value for pi over 6 is always going to be the biggest one. Now, this could also be used for sine values. So for example, when I think about this way, now this distance for pi over 6 for sine wise, which once again is equal to y, this distance is the smallest. So out of the three values, 1/2, root 2 over 2, then root 3 over 2, this one right here is going to be 1/2 because it is the smallest amount of distance. The pi over 4 is going to be root 2 over 2 due to its middle distance. And this one, the pi over 3, is going to be root 3 over 2 due to its largest distance. Now, it gets a little tricky with sine, with tangent and cotangent, because they're kind of weird. Like, for example, their three values are root 3, 1, and root 3 over 3, if I'm not mistaken. So this one is due to the sine, which would be sine over cosine in tangent forms. So to get root 3, it'd have to be sine would be equal to root 3 over 2. So you could think about it that way. So tangent is always going to be root 3. Tangent will always be root 3 when sine is equivalent to root 3 over 2. That means tangent is equal to root 3. Now, for a big other example, I guess, well, just off of that, I think I am able to complete an entire um, unit square. Or actually, that's kind of a gross drawing. Let's say if I just do 180 degrees only. So we have 3 lines on each side. Now, if I wanted to fill this out just off the top of my head, and let's say I only want to fill out cosine values, okay? Now, how far does it go to reach this point? It's the longest one, so it's going to be root 3 over 2. How far does it go to reach this one? Middle, so root 2 over 2. So on and so forth. This one is the shortest, 1/2. Now, this way, as you guys know, let me draw this out real quick. All students take calculus. So cosine is only positive on quadrants 1 and quadrants 4. So in these quadrants, they're going to be negative. But once again, the same rules apply. The distance to reach here is the shortest, so it'll be negative 1/2. But it's only negative due to its being in quadrant 2. This one is middle distance, so once again, it's root 2 over 2. This one is longest distance, so root 3 over 2. I hope this trick kind of helps you guys. At least in my head, I feel like it really helps me just so I can get these values out of my head as fast as possible. If you really think about it, whenever I think about anything, so let's say, for example, the teacher gives you what is the sine of 11 pi over 6. Now, I know if I draw out what I do in my head when I see this number, 11 pi over 6, I actually draw a unicircle in my head. So I know the 6's are here, 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 and here. Then I go, all right, that's 1/6. This is 5/6. This is 7/6. This is 11/6. All right. So now if I zoom in on this, which I'm going to make in a different one, if I zoom in on this 11/6, it'll look like this. Now, in the sine, once again, the question was sine of 11 pi over 6. Now, this is the 11 pi over 6. What is the distance to reach here? It'll be negative 1/2 because it is the shortest distance out of the 3 lines that are here. So once again, I hope this helps. And maybe if this does help you, make sure you tell me. And if there's anything that I could do better, please tell me. I definitely just want to help everyone with their math problems. And unit circle isn't really that hard just because it's a repeating pattern. And that's how I came up with this idea of having a basically like what is the distance thing to this point. Because there's only 3 possible values, and it's pretty simple once you think about it. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Comment down below if you like this or whatever. I don't know. Just hit me up if you really need more help, or if there's any other topic you want me to cover. I'm glad to help, honestly. It's no big deal at all.